no deal. I'm having a blank against his name tonight. And
poor Howie Mandel, yes.
Poor Howie Mandel, yeah. And it was a matter of time before, the luck did not run out. It's just started. So it's a matter of making it through the long haul, and focusing on what's positive and what's something that can really work for someone versus all the negative things that come with it. And there's a lot of complications like OCD. Howie Mandel has obsessive compulsive disorder. He's made sure the world knows about that. And Michael Phelps, even this past year got in trouble with taking drugs.
Right.
He never took drugs, and so he took them for different reasons, and that can affect driving. And if you're very hyper and very impulsive, you can be prone to getting tickets. And we really want to change the feelings about ADD and focus on what there is to be grateful for and what the kids have to look forward to. And the more role models we point out to them, the better. And you wanted to talk about some of the natural solutions for the ADD brain?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the most important thing for a brain that has these temporal lobe or prefrontal cortex malfunction, so to speak, is that it be fed fatty acids a great deal. Now, fatty acids are really, really important for the brain cells, and they really nurture the brain cells, and they're really essential oils. And many adults and kids today take omega-6 oils that are in the form of either a liquid, which doesn't taste too good and can be put in yogurt or cereal, or the tablets. The problem with the tablets with omega-6s and omega-3s is that you need to take a ton of tablets to make up for the amount. So 1 tablespoon of the lemon-tasting fish oil can do the trick, as opposed to I'm being facetious, as opposed to 20 pills that no kid's going to want to take.
Exactly.
And
I take the liquid now. Yeah, I take the liquid because they had, it was like 30 pills. And I was like, there's no way every day I can take 30 pills of fish oil on top of the other vitamins I was taking. So I have lupus. So I take the omega-3, and it's really helped me a lot. It doesn't, like you said, it's not that great tasting, and I have to take a tablespoon. Most people take maybe a teaspoon. My husband takes a teaspoon. I have to take a tablespoon. So it just tells you the difference between what we have to take. And so I drink it. I take one of those little NyQuil glasses, and I just take it, and I hold my nose. But that's hard for a kid to do.
Absolutely. So the fatty acids are really important, and the studies have shown that the levels of fatty acids are lower in the red blood cells of the brain with people that have ADD, and it's really important to take supplements also that can not only deal with short-term memory, which is what the fish oil does, but to stay away from as many preservatives as possible. A lot of people are going organic. A lot of people are going natural. A lot of families, I don't believe in taking everything out of the kitchen, because the kid's going to be like a lion in a cage, and when they're let out of the cage and they go to someone's house, they're going to rip the doors off the cupboards, But no extreme is good. But Easy does it with the types of foods that have caffeine in them, and we all know that chocolate has a lot of caffeine in it, and it's a stimulant. And so chocolate isn't very good. If you're a teenager or a college-age student, you're not going to want to drink too much coffee. That'll put you over the top, and things of that nature.
Absolutely. And, actually caffeine sometimes calms my son down. Don't ask me why. It kind of has the opposite effect. So I've never seen anything like it. I'm like, that's kind of amazing. I've seen him drink coffee and go to bed.
Interesting. Well, I guess every brain is a little bit different.
Every kid is different, which is important for parents to keep in mind. Every child, because I have 3 children, but again, you said there are 6 different types of ADHD or ADD, and that's, let's talk about just, some of them, because one of them I had never heard of until my son was diagnosed, and it was ADHD inattentive type. And I thought, because I said there's no way my son has ADD or ADHD because, he's not hyper. And to me, ADHD was, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I was seeing just the hyperactivity disorder. But you don't have to be hyper in order to have ADD, correct?
Correct. If you're just regular with ADD, you'll just have a hard time with focusing, and you'll have a hard time with other basics, like I said, the short-term memory and maybe social skills you will not pick up. The cues that are nonverbal cues, which very often Albert Einstein was not ready to take in and didn't care about them. And, that can lead to putting a bad spin on your relationship with your peers and with your teachers. And then there's the first type is ADD without the hyperactive part. The second one is the hyperactive part, which means kids are usually very fidgety and they have to move around a lot. They can stay seated for a little while on a homework assignment, but then they got to get up and take a break, which is fine. And then there's the over-focused ADD, which is type 3, and they have the same core symptoms plus tremendous trouble shifting attention and a tendency to get stuck or locked into a really negative thought or pattern of behavior. And this is frequently found, this type of ADD is frequently found in people that abuse substances. So the over-focused ADD is more of an extreme example of a form of ADD. Then there's another type called temporal lobe ADD, and this is commonly associated with tempers and mood instability, memory issues, learning disabilities. And when you do a scan of the brain, you'll find that there's real decreased in activity in the two lobes on either side of the brain, along with a reduced blood flow, which really does affect the ability to get the answers that you need right up front when you're being asked a question in school, or a cop, pulls you over and says, "Do you know why I'm giving you a ticket?" And it really affects concentration. And very often this type of temporal lobe ADD comes from brain injuries in terms of when a kid is born with the instruments that the doctor uses, or if they've fallen, that can really affect the brain. So that's a type that's very unusual. And then there's something called limbic, Limbic, which is a form of ADD which really carries with it a tremendous amount of depression. And it affects the limbic system of the body, and that's one that you never hear of. And then there's one that was called the Ring of Fire, which comes from, the Ring of Fire has to do with the brain scan, where it shows a lot of red light, showing where there's a lot of activity going on in the brain. And when you have a Ring of Fire effect, there's circuits going out all the time, and it leads to a lot of different issues. So the four that I've mentioned, aside from ADD and ADHD, are basically not the type of ADD challenges that you're going to hear about unless you go for a $2,000 or $3,000 brain scan or brain imaging, which basically gives you the same outcome as if you were to go to a doctor and try the different cocktails of medicines until you find the magic one that turns the light bulb on.
Now, my kids did not take medication. I chose not to medicate my children because I think that, I wanted to use tools like yours and see if that would work first. And then I said, if it really doesn't work, I'm going to use medication, But before I do this, because, I'm not anti-medication, I'm just kind of pro knowing what's going into your mouth and your child's mouth. And also I don't think that, in my personal opinion, and having a father who's a physician, who's a GP, but still, nevertheless, growing up in a medical family, my mother was a trauma nurse. So, we have the PDR, and I would look up some of these meds and ask my dad questions, and I feel that the child's brain is still developing, so I'm not very quick to medicate a child. But I understand that there are parents out there that feel, hey, this is necessary for my child, I need to do this, and that's fine.